infallibility of karma and its results. May all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. So 2 times more, we do a little bit Gregorian style. May all the diseases that have in the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harm of spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the most of sounds whose names terrify beings, as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the 4 elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. May the body and mind have radiance of power and be endowed with good health and well-being. By the compassion of the Gurus and the 3 jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that set in the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings, as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the 4 elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance of power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the Gurus and the 3 jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. So that's already a lot of dedications and prayers, especially for everyone who was harmed by the pandemic and those who have lost their lives. So may all those who are in the bardo at this moment get a rebirth in a pure land or as a human being to continue their spiritual journey. May all those who are in hospitals, are sick, may they be healed. May all those who are lonely or have social disadvantages now because they lost their loved one, their partner, or father, mother. So may they get comfort, may they find a sense of life, may they practice Dharma so that they are free of all forms of hurt again in the future. Then also for everyone who was hit by the pandemic in an economical way, especially in poor countries, relative poor countries like Nepal, India, still many people have been hit by the pandemic. So may they find work, may they find resources. And also, of course, for everyone else on this planet who have difficulties finding food. There's now a big, huge problem in the world with food, raising prices. In some countries, especially in Africa, it's hard to get enough food. So anyway, we dedicate all our virtue that they might find what they are looking for: food, solace, company, and so forth, peace. So that brings us to the pacifying danger of weapons, also for Thangtong Gyalpo, words of truth specifying the danger of weapons. So there's I heard about 40 wars going on this planet. So around Ethiopia, around Yemen. So there's all smaller and bigger wars. Of course, Ukraine attracts the most attention in the West because we are somehow involved, and sometimes we feel closer to our neighbors than to people who live a few blocks further on. So it's a little bit like that. Also, this conflict has quickly the potential that bombs are used and that many countries get involved and that the world war can break out. So there's also some other reasons of concerns, but still everyone on this planet who are victim of violence, especially then of course war, but there's also a lot of human trafficking. There's actually quite some aggression for newcomers in countries. Also from Africa, there's many people looking for better life, and think about 15,000 people try to cross the Mediterranean to come to Europe, for example. And there's many people who try to go from Mexico or these countries to United States. So there's a lot of people who are looking for better lives, and they see no future or have no future in the countries where they are from. Then there's a lot of violence, human trafficking, sex violence. So that a lot of people are abused on this planet. So a lot of children, women, sometimes even also men. So for all those, we do this practice, Thangtong Gyalpo, words of truth, specifying the danger of weapons. Or Mani Padme Hum. So we do again a few mantras, visualizing Guru Chenrezig in front of us, from his heart of Guru Chenrezig, from the mantra at his heart, which turns clockwise. Rays of light, try to touch, will touch all sentient beings, especially those who are in danger of their weapons. Oh, Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Great, loving, victorious one, Arya, sublime, compassionate, I, looking one, wrathful, victorious, Hayagriva, perfect, Tara, and so forth. Hayagriva is the wrathful aspect of Chenrezig, and Tara is the helpful aspect of Chenrezig. Objects of refuge, whose holy names eliminate all dangers upon mere hearing, who are compassionate in nature, please pay attention to me. When the sentient beings of the time of quarreling and of flourishing of the 5D generations are tormented by fighting and intense suffering from the explosion of a great ocean of evil karma and jealousy, please dry this ocean up by the strength of your transcendental wisdom and compassion. Also by letting fall a great nectar rain of loving kindness on the transmigrating beings whose hatred is a blazing fire. Please grant your blessings for happiness and auspiciousness to increase by their recognizing each other as being like parents. Through your defeating the multitude of vicious evil spirits who, by entering someone's mental continuum, change it instantly into the mind of an Ashura, from now on, may they never roam in this region. Please also cause all the sentient beings who have died in war from now on to abandon all evil karma, the cause and result, and be miraculously reborn in blissful land. Please also lead all others to that pure land. Please cause all those who are born and die to have long lives and not have sicknesses, to stop all their quarreling and fighting, and to enjoy life in the 10 virtues. Please make rain fall at the right time, harvest to always be good, and auspiciousness to increase in all inhabitants and for all inhabitants, by the ultimate reality, which is pure in nature, unbetraying cause and result, which has that ultimate reality, and the compassion guru, mind seal deity, and rare sublime ones, may by pure and extensive prayers be accomplished. So we do it one time more to and visualize all the victims of violence, weapons, especially of course, like we have Ukraine on in our mind, but also all the other African wars and Yemen, and there's human trafficking, the violence people face due to weapons, and also the shootings in America. It's like wars in families and on schools. It's just awful. Great, loving, victorious one, Arya, sublime, compassionate, eye looking one, wrathful, victorious, Hayagriva, perfect Taram, and so forth, object of refuge, whose holy names eliminate all dangers upon mere hearing, who are compassionate in nature, please pay attention to me. So it's also good to remember that whenever we come in such a situation of, then we have to call Tara or Chenrezig immediately to us, and we will will get their help, and we will be more creative, and somehow we have more chance of bringing the situation to an end. When the sentient beings of the time of quarreling and of flourishing of the 5D generations are tormented by fighting and intense suffering from the explosion of a great ocean of evil karma and jealousy, please dry this ocean up by the strength of your transcendental wisdom and compassion. Also by letting fall a great nectarine of loving kindness on the transmigrating beings whose hatred is a blazing fire, please grant your blessings to happiness and auspiciousness to increase by their recognizing each other as being like parents. So through your defeating the multitude of visual evil spirits, who by entering someone's mental continuum change it instantly into the mind of an Ashura, from now on may they never roam in this region. Please also cause all the sentient beings who have died in war from now on to abandon all evil karma, the cause and result, and be miraculously reborn in blissful pure land. Please also lead all others to that pure land. Please cause all those who are born and die to have long lives and not have sicknesses, to stop all their quarreling and fighting, and to enjoy a life in the 10 virtues. Please make rainfall at the right time, harvest always be good, and auspiciousness to increase in all inhabitants and for all inhabitants, by the ultimate reality, which is pure in nature, and betraying cause and result, which has that ultimate reality, and the compassion guru, mind seal deity, and rare sublime ones, may my pure and extensive prayers be accomplished. That was the fight speech of Mahasiddhi Thangtong Gyalpo, words of truth specifying the danger of weapons. So there's so much problems all over the world with weapons. And also with drugs trafficking, like in Mexico, the Latin American countries, it's really a big problem. Anyway, so then we will go to the prayer, the King of Prayers. Presentation is easier than the other format. There it is, the start. So we do the King of Prayers, especially for everyone who lost their lives. It's a very powerful prayer if you are at the deathbed of someone, or if you know that a loved one is in danger or is about to lose his or her life. And also just when the person has died, the first 7 weeks upon the person has passed away, or to give the prayer that the person might get good rebirth in a pure land or as a human. And this prayer is very powerful to support that wish, create the causes and conditions. So especially if we have a strong connection with a person, it can be very powerful and helpful. The person gets a very good, precious human rebirth. So King of Prayers, the extraordinary aspiration of the practice of Samantabhadra, Charya, Pranidhana, Raja, Pakazangpo, Chupa, Nyungman, Gyalpo. So we have again the best motivation that we do this for all sentient beings, especially those who have all passed away due to wars, due to COVID, due to whatever situations. I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri, you lions among humans, gone to freedom in the present, past, and future. In the worlds of 10 directions, to all of you with body, speech, sincere mind, I bow down. With the energy of aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies as atoms of the world, to all you Buddhas visualize as real, I bow down. On every atom are Buddhas, numberless as atoms, each amidst a host of Bodhisattvas, and I'm confident the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with Buddhas in this way. With infinite oceans of praise for you and oceans of sound from the aspect of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas to celebrate all of you gone to bliss. Beautiful flowers, regal garlands, sweet music, scented oils, parasols, sparkling lights, and sublime incense I offer to victorious ones. Fine dress, fragrant perfumes, sandalwood powder heaped high as Mount Meru, all wondrous offerings in spectacular array I offer to you victorious ones. With transcendent offerings, pale as the fast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, I offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I have done with my body, speech, and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger, and confusion, all these I lay bare before you. I lift up my heart and rejoice in all positive potential of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, of solitary realizers, heroes still training of those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. You who are in the bright lights of worlds in 10 directions, who have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the stages of awakening, all you who are my guides, please turn the supreme wheel of Dharma. With palms together, I earnestly request you may actualize Parinirvana. Please stay with us for eons, numberless as atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all wanderers in samsara. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created by paying homage, offering, and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddhas stay and teach, I now dedicate all this for full awakening. May you Buddhas now living in the worlds of 10 directions and all you gone to freedom in the past accept my offerings. May those not yet arisen quickly perfect their minds, awakening as fully enlightened ones. May all worlds in 10 directions be entirely pure and fast. May they be filled with bodhisattvas surrounding Buddhas gathered beneath the body tree. May as many beings as exist in 10 directions be always well and happy. May all samsaric beings live in accord with the Dharma, and may their every Dharma wish be fulfilled. Remembering my past lives in all varieties of existence, may I practice the Bodhisattva way, and thus in each cycle of death, migration, and birth, may I always abandon the householder's life. Then, following in the footsteps of all the Buddhas and perfecting the practice of a bodhisattva, may I always act without error or compromise, with ethical discipline, faultless and pure. May I teach the Dharma in the language of gods, in every language of spirits and nagas, of humans and of demons, and in the voice of every form of being. May I be gentle-minded, cultivating the 6 paramitas, and never forget bodhicitta. May I completely cleanse without omission every negativity and all that obscures this awakening mind. May I traverse all my lives in the world, free of karma, afflictions, and interfering forces, just as the lotus blossom is undisturbed by the water's wave, just as the sun and moon move unhindered through the sky. May I ease the suffering in the lower realms and in the many directions and dimensions of the universe. May I guide all wanderers in samsara to the pure bliss of awakening and be of worldly benefit to them as well. May I practice constantly for eons to come, perfecting the activities of awakening, acting in harmony with the various dispositions of beings, showing the ways of a bodhisattva. May I always have the friendship of those whose path is like mine, and with body, words, and also mind, may we practice together the same aspirations and activities. May I always meet a spiritual mentor and never displease that excellent friend who deeply wishes to help me and expertly teaches the bodhisattva way. May I always directly see the Buddhas, masters encircled by bodhisattvas, and without pause or discouragement for eons to come, may I make extensive offerings to them. May I hold within me the Buddha's genuine Dharma, illuminate everywhere the teachings that awaken, embody the realizations of a bodhisattva, and practice ardently into all future eons. While circling through all states of existence, may become an endless treasure of good qualities, skillful means, wisdom, samadhi, and liberating stabilizations, gathering limitless, pristine wisdom and positive potential. On one atom, I shall see Buddha fields, numberless as atoms, inconceivable Buddhas among bodhisattvas in every field, practicing the activities of awakening. Receiving this in all directions, I dive into an ocean of Buddha fields, each an ocean of 3 times Buddhas in the space of a wisp of hair. So I too will practice for an ocean of eons. Thus, I'm continually immersed in the speech of the Buddhas, expression that reveals an ocean of qualities in one word, the completely pure eloquence of all the Buddhas, communication suited to the varied tendencies of beings. With strength of understanding, I plunge into the infinite enlightened speech of the Dharma of all Buddhas and 3 times gone to freedom, who continually turn the wheel of Dharma methods. I shall experience in one moment such vast activity of all future eons, and I will enter into all eons of the 3 times about a fraction of a second. In one instant, I shall see all those awakened beings, past, present, and future, alliance among humans, and with the power of the illusion-like stabilization, I will constantly engage in their inconceivable activity. I shall manifest upon one single atom, the array of pure lands, present, past, or future. Likewise, I shall enter the array of pure Buddha fields in every direction without exception. I shall enter the very presence of all my guides. Those lights of this world were yet to appear. Those sequentially turning the wheels of complete awakening, those who reveal nirvana find no perfect peace. May achieve the power of swift magical emanation, the power to lead to the great vehicle through every approach, the power of always beneficial activity, the power of love pervading all realms, the power of all surpassing positive potential, the power of supreme knowledge unobstructed by discrimination. And through the powers of wisdom, skillful means, and samadhi, may I achieve the perfect power of awakening, purifying the power of all contaminated actions, crushing the power of disturbing emotions at their root, diffusing the power of interfering forces. I shall perfect the power of the bodhisattva practice. May I purify an ocean of worlds, may I free an ocean of beings, may I clearly see an ocean of Dharma, may I realize an ocean of pristine wisdom, may I purify an ocean of activities, may I fulfill an ocean of aspirations, may I make offerings to an ocean of Buddhas, may I practice without discouragement for an ocean of eons. To awaken fully through this bodhisattva way, I shall fulfill without exception all the diverse aspirations of the awakening practice of all Buddhas gone to freedom in the 3 times everywhere, in order to practice exactly as the wise one called Samantabhadra, all-embracing good, the elder brother of the sons and daughters of the Buddhas. I completely dedicate all this goodness. Likewise, may I dedicate, just as the skillful Samantabhadra, with pure body, speech, and mind, pure actions, and pure Buddha fields. I shall give rise to the aspirations of Manjushri for this bodhisattva practice of all embracing good, to perfect these practices without discouragement or pause in all future eons. May my pure activities be endless, my good qualities boundless, through abiding in immeasurable activity, may actualize infinite emanations. Limitless is the end of space, likewise, limitless are living beings, thus limitless are karma and afflictions. May my aspirations reach be limitless as well. One may offer to the Buddhas all wealth and adornments of infinite worlds in 10 directions, and one may offer during eons numberless as atoms of the world, even the greatest happiness of gods and humans. But whoever hears this extraordinary aspiration, a longing for highest awakening, gives rise to faith just once creates far more precious positive potential. Those who make this heartfelt aspiration for the bodhisattva way will be free of all lower rebirths, free of harmful companions, and will quickly see Amitabha infinite lights. And even in this very human life, they will be nourished by happiness and of all conducive circumstances. Without waiting long, they will become like Samantabhadra himself. Those who give voice to this extraordinary aspiration will quickly and completely purify the 5 boundless harmful actions created under the power of ignorance. Blessed with supreme knowledge, excellent body, family, attributes, and appearance, they will be invincible, fast, interfering forces and misleading teachers, and all the 3 worlds will make offerings. Going quickly to the noble body tree, sitting there to benefit sentient beings, subduing all interfering forces, they will fully awaken and turn the great wheel of Dharma. Have no doubt that complete awakening is the fully ripened result, comprehended only by a Buddha, of holding in mind by teaching, reading, or reciting this aspiration of the bodhisattva practice. In order to train just like the hero Manjushri who knows reality as it is, and just like Samantabhadra as well, I completely dedicate all this goodness just as they did. With that dedication, which is praised as greatest, may all the Buddhas gone to freedom in the 3 times, I too dedicate all my roots of goodness for the attainment of the bodhisattva practice. When the moment of my death arrives, by eliminating all obscurations and directly perceiving Amitabha, may I go immediately to Sukhavati, pure land of great joy. Having gone to Sukhavati, may I actualize the meaning of these aspirations, fulfilling them all without exception, for the benefit of beings for as long as this world endures. Born from an extremely beautiful superlative lotus in the joyful land of the Buddha's magnificent mandala, may I receive a prediction of my awakening directly from the Buddha Amitabha. Having received a prediction there, may I create fast benefit for beings throughout the 10 directions with a billion emanations by the power of wisdom. Through even the small virtue I have accumulated, by offering this prayer or the bodhisattva practice, may all the positive aspirations of beings be fulfilled in an instant. Through creating limitless positive potential, by dedicating this prayer of Samantabhadra's deeds, may all beings drowning in this torrent of suffering enter the presence of Amitabha. Through this king of aspirations, with the greatest of the sublime, helping infinite wonders in samsara, through the accomplishment of this scripture, dazzling with Samantabhadra's practice, may suffering realms be utterly emptied of all beings. So that was the king of prayers. So we do again a few times the taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. Following the advice of Kandrula advised this practice to do as much as possible for the long and healthy appearance of the Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So it seems Lama Zopa Rinpoche has some health issues. It's not so very well broad spread known what it exactly is, but he has visited a hospital in Kathmandu. So, and it might be that Rinpoche might have to go to a hospital for an operation. So we cannot miss Lama Zopa Rinpoche. He is the spiritual director of 150 centers all over the world. And on top of that, teacher and the source of inspiration of countless students all over the world. So Rinpoche benefits all these FPMT centers in so many different ways, not only inspiring individuals. He took care that there's about 40 geshes all over the world teaching in FPMT centers. So they do this upon the request of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So personally, I also met, when I entered Buddhism, and I met Buddhism, met one of the teachers, the geshe, who was asked by Lama Zopa Rinpoche to teach in the West. So it was Geshe Thangtong Gyalpo in the Netherlands. So due to the kindness of this geshe, and then, but on the background, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who is leading and giving guidance to the center, the existence of the center, avoiding creating so much prayers to avoid obstacles for centers, then also give instructions to benefit as many people as possible by giving all kinds of practices. Like today, we liberated more than 5,000 worms and maggots around the stupa to the practice with maybe about 10, 15 people. So it's one of the, just with this practice, we benefit 5,000 animals. So then there's all these stupas that Rinpoche created and big statues will be benefit for the coming 500 years. So many sentient beings. So yeah. So we do a few times again this taking refuge in generating bodhicitta. So we can do 7 times very strongly that we dedicate to the, can dedicate for all teachers who guide other sentient beings to enlightenment. It's the most holy task on this planet. Again, with the first line, you can think of how samsara sucks, that there's no permanent happiness in samsara. So, and there's the danger if we not act ethical and we create many mistakes, or that there's still a lot of impure imprints in our mind that we might get a lower rebirth, so that at the cost of everything, we should avoid that. So the first line, we think of the lower rebirth, the fear to go to lower rebirth. It's one of the bases for taking refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha. The second is remembering the qualities of Buddha Dharma Sangha. And then the third is we generate bodhicitta, that we want to use our life and all our capacities, all our resources to help other sentient beings to enlightenment. And the last is remembering how the reality exists, that there's dependent arising, that everything does not produce itself. It's dependent arising. Like, and you can think of your body, for example, the heart is dependent on your lungs and your brains and all the things you do, the other functions of the body. So, and initially, when blood and sperm came together, there was not already a heart. It formed dependent on those specific causes, conditions, which created also a trees. The trees is there, but it was before it was a shoot and it was a seed, and the seed came from other causes and conditions. So we can think very strongly on dependent arising, that things dependent on every big thing, and how every phenomena depends on parts and whole. Every phenomena depends on our mind labeling it. Every impermanent phenomena especially, they consist of the 3 times. So it came into existence, it exists for a fraction of a second, and it goes. So that's the last line that we think of dependent arising, that everything is not existent inherently. So then in this way we have the 3 principles of the path of initiation: bodhicitta, and wisdom realizing emptiness. And it's very purifying our mind that we can remember those 3 principles of the path. So, but we do it especially for everyone who spreads the Dharma, especially Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Sangye chedang choki chognam la changchu badu takni kyabsu chi taki jansagi pesa namki trola benche sangye drupar shum. Sangye chedang ki chognam la changchu badu takni kyabsu chi taki jansagi pesa namki trola benche sangye drupar shum. Sangye chedang choki chognam la changcho badu takni kyabsu chi taki jansagi pesa namki trola panche sangye drupa shum. Sangye chedang choki chognam la changcho badu takni kyabsu chi taki jansagi pesa namki trola panche sangye drupa shum. Sangye chedang choki chognam la changcho badu takni kyabsu chi taki jansagi pesa namki trola panche sangye drupa shum. Sangye chedang choki chognam la changcho badu takni kyabsu chi taki jansagi pesa namki trola panche sangye drupa shum. Sangye chedang choki chognam la changcho badu takni kyabsu chi taki jansagi pesa namki trola panche sangye drupa shum. So, then we're gonna start our dedications. I'm looking for the dedication. So we want Rinpoche to be long time around and continue his past activities, benefiting millions and millions of people, and not only people, also animals and other sentient beings. So if you look at what Rinpoche's wish list, can also call bucket list, it might not be realized all in this life, but it's so inspiring. It can really inspire us to think big and fast. So all our efforts we can also dedicate to this wish of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So Rinpoche said, I would like for the whole organization to build 100,000 prayer wheels in different parts of the world, including prayer wheels under the ocean, at the bottom of the ocean, a minimum height of 6 feet. Rinpoche just suggested. Prayer wheels are a great blessing for each country. So it's always good to have these prayer wheels. Then my wish is for the big centers in FPM to have these large tankas, Rinpoche explained. This is a way to leave imprints for all these people who see them for enlightenment. So also we in Nalanda, Rinpoche gave I live here in Nalanda Monastery in France, so Rinpoche told also us as monastery to commission huge tankas, about 4 or 5 meters broad and about 10-12 meters long, and roll them out on every public day, an open house day. I don't know who you call it in your country, and so that 200, 300, 400, 500 people usually come to our open days, so that they all get strong imprint and have an opportunity to offer something to a statue or to this large tanka. Because as you know, we have to see statues and tankas as real Buddhas. The Buddhas are always around us, so if the moment we see a tanka or a statue, it's good to remind ourselves these are really around us. And because we are functioning in a limited way with our senses, we need to see these tankas and be reminded. Yeah. And then Rinpoche wants to build many Guru Rinpoche statues which bring immeasurable peace, happiness, freedom to the world. They will have immeasurable impact. Rinpoche added. So also in Nalanda, we commissioned a Guru statue. It's already sponsored, and we are just waiting for this big, it's about 2 meters, so life size. Actually bigger than life size because Guru Rinpoche sits, so it's actually bigger than a human being in general. So, but anyway, all in all, it's about 190 Guru Rinpoche statue. And Rinpoche want to have many in the world. So also in Nepal, there are more Guru Rinpoche scheduled, and they will have a measurable impact in the world. Then Rinpoche also wants FPMT organization to build 1,000 Maitreya statues. The minimum size would be 6 feet. So Rinpoche asked Nalanda to build a 6-story feet, 6-story. So 1 story is, I don't know if feet actually. It's then 6 times, so 36 feet. It's 1 story is say 3 meters. And then 6 times is about 18 meters. So within the 1,000 statues, this includes Maitreya statues being built in Kushinagar, Bodh Gaya, India. My aim is that the large statue Kushinagar will last a minimum of 1,000 years. That means that for every day, for at least 1,000 years, infinite sentient beings will receive unbelievable benefit and the causes for enlightenment. Another special thing about contributing to Maitreya, whether it be money or time or energy, is that it makes a connection with Maitreya Buddha. And the result is that one becomes a direct disciple of Maitreya Buddha when Maitreya returns to manifest enlightenment as Shakyamuni Buddha did. So it's said once the degenerate times are so strong that we cannot reach enlightenment in the world. So at that moment, it's still possible. All the teachings are there, the lineages are there, there's tantric teaching. So if people practice full-time, wholehearted, with all their knowledge, have created all the cause conditions, it's possible on this planet to get enlightened. And the funny thing is that I heard that Rinpoche taught also a few places where someone will get enlightened on this planet. So if not enlightened, of course, we can make lots of progress and at least get personal liberation. But anyway, all these statues will at least have the result, especially Maitreya Buddha, who will come in after degenerate times. So when there's no Dharma anymore in the world, so will come very dark times when all the Dharma texts will be burned or will be forbidden to read. So then there's no religious freedom or freedom of thinking. So there's only social pressure. And then in such a time, Buddha Maitreya will come read again, bring again loads of people to enlightenment. Maitreya projects were established to build 2 magnificent Maitreya statues in Bodh Gaya, Kushinagar, India. The Maitreya project also built 2 24-foot Maitreya statues. One is now in Land of Medicine, California. One is a Maitreya project land in Bodh Gaya. We also have here one in Nalanda. Additionally, approximately 100 life-size Maitreya statues were created, of which Lama Zopa Rinpoche is sponsored and offered 26 to FPMT centers indeed. So they're all over the world already. Then Rinpoche, in his vast vision, of course, it's very nice, all these centers, all these statues, but it's about that we as students, you make effort to change our hearts and reach enlightenment ourselves, because that's what Rinpoche wants, that we, his students, have enlightenment. So for this, we have to practice Dharma. So that's why Rinpoche includes supporting deep Dharma practice and fostering realizations around the world. So Rinpoche is actively supporting ordained and lay students, supporting monasteries and nunneries. He develops retirement support for long-life students. He supports 100 million money retreats, like This sometimes going on in Mongolia. In the West, it's very difficult to organize a 1 month retreat and then get 100 million mantras done. Then 1,000 Nyungne retreats. So this month, for example, there's one in Institut Vajugini in the south of France. It's a fasting retreat. One Nyungne is 2 days of mainly fasting, doing prostrations. It's a Chenrezig retreat. So it's fantastic that some people engage in these retreats, wanting to become Guru Avalokiteshvara themselves. So reciting the Sutra of Golden Light for World Peace, retreat centers to develop realizations, so education programs, scholarships, it's all what Lama Zopa Rinpoche wants. So it's so fantastic, and it's so good to dedicate or see how we can contribute in all our small ways to all these big wishes. And social services, so it's good for FPMT to benefit extensively other sentient beings by offering various social services, such as those that bring loving kindness and peace to youth, using universal education methods, religious interfaith activities which bring peace and happiness, and extensively benefit others by spreading Dharma. So continue and expand universal education programs, healing programs, projects to help young people, parenting programs, and substance abuse treatment programs. So Rinpoche really would like that we develop these programs, contribute to these programs. And we, I mean FPMT centers, so that we do it in the context of an FPMT center. So as much as possible, at least what the FPMT can do is to encourage students to help other sentient beings. And also social service for the elderly, centers hosting interfaith events benefiting animals. And the most essential practice, quick. The conclusion is for all the people to practice the Lam Rim, which is the heart of Dharma, especially to try to put all the effort to live with bodhicitta motivation, in particular to have kindness to others, which is the most essential practice. Aiming to have the realization bodhicitta as our main goal, of course, based on Guru devotion. So as Rinpoche mentioned, the fast visions are ambitious and may take many lifetimes to actualize. They are also still evolving and being clarified. Tremendous thanks and gratitude to all who have helped to begin to actualize Rinpoche's fast visions for the FPMT organization. So I think that's a nice part of, we created this 1.5 hour, lots of merit by having doing this refuge prayer for Rinpoche's long life. Maybe we have done many other good activities. Maybe we have studied a little bit, reflected on bodhicitta today. Maybe we have been kind to other sentient beings, make our life meaningful. Like we at Nalanda, we have liberated today more than 5,000 animals. And also the coming weeks, we will, every Saturday, we will do at 2 o'clock, liberating animals. And the more money we have, the more animals we can buy. And like today, we had to buy maybe, I think, 140 euros. So we could buy about 5,000 animals. So we know all the addresses in the meantime where we can buy them. So they know us, they will order in advance. Lots of animals for us. So, and at this moment it's worms and maggots, but also we will help an animal sanctuary here close to Institut Vajugini, where Rinpoche also gave blessings to the animals, and Rinpoche told us to build a stupa there. So Nalanda helped to create a stupa on her property. This lady, she really neglects herself and only helps animals. All her corners of her house are with animals. She cannot refuse any animal who are otherwise to get killed. So she has so many animals. So when she gets a whole bunch of new animals, which she saves more or less from death, otherwise they will be killed. So we, from time to time, she has a truck and we have a truck. So we get all these animals here to the stupa, and we give her a donation, and so then she can buy food for these animals, and or build provision for these animals. So nice that we can help this lady, and because it was obvious that Rinpoche said that this is she's working like a bodhisattva. She doesn't care for herself; she cares only for the animals. So yeah, so lots of those animals, and sometimes they are geese and dogs, and so all kind of animals. But anyway, mainly people do also a lot of worms and maggots, and if we can do fish and other animals to save from being eaten by other animals, or being fed to other animals, or being used. It's so cruel that some people use these worms on a hook. It's so suffering for such an animal, and then put into water where usually the worms don't live. So it's so suffering, and then they're finally eaten by a fish. And then the fish suffers tremendously from being on this hook. When they get out of the water, they really don't dance from pleasure, but really because it's so suffering. If you think about it, it's so awful. But hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people do this. So we cannot say anything. So yeah, even in these shops, we never say like, oh, we do. Yeah, one shop owner knows that we use it for, we liberate them, but we never preach like that we are against these activities, because people get offended and they might refuse to sell us these animals. And so, yeah. So anyway, hope you are also a little bit inspired by Rinpoche's vision. At least what we can do is practice ourselves to study regularity, think about what is bodhicitta. For example, study the text of Shantideva, the Bodhisattva way of life. And there it's more explained what is the perfection of generosity, what is the perfection of patience, what is the perfection of ethics, what is the perfection of perseverance, what is the perfection of concentration. So we really get inspired. It's not only that you study or read, at that moment you are in touch with Buddha's teaching. So it's so may everyone who picks up a book and studies, may they get realizations of what they are reading. So that's about this. So we do some more dedications. We still have 7 minutes. Oh, this is not the right document. Yeah, here we are. I think this prayer is too long to do in 6 minutes. Anyway, so maybe we just do dedications without using text. So when we visualize all sentient beings around us from all universes, so think about all their suffering and their potential to suffer. So all these forms of suffering, there's war, people suffer, again, have to be born, which is not a pleasure. So many people get sick, so many people have to die again and have to face the disadvantages of old age. So we can get again more and more problems with our body over time. In general, after 30, 40, it really doesn't become better. It's really get worse with knees, hips, standing, walking, doing daily activities. Some people are even so sick that they cannot even feed themselves. So, and then people are the whole time confronted with things they don't want to be confronted with enemies, anger, violence, slander, being scolded. So life is so suffering, and the more ego we have, the worse it is. So then we have all this suffering of suffering, just very present suffering of suffering, sometimes physical, sometimes mental. And on a deeper level, we think, oh, now I'm happy because I go on holiday, but holiday is no escape of our suffering. Or, for example, some people want children, they hardly can get children, so there's so much suffering not getting children. Then they get pregnant and they get a child, then they have the suffering of having children. So first you have no car, you have no possessions, then you have your possessions, then you have the suffering of having to protect all your possessions. The health of your body, the car, the house, you have to work hard for the house, to pay the bills, to do repairs. So all those times, of course, when you have bodhicitta in our mind, when we do it for the welfare of others, then it's even such an activity can be meritorious. But most people, they don't know any Dharma, so they cannot make even all those moments beneficial. They cannot bring that into the path. They have no methods to bring suffering into the path. For example, if we have cancer and you are a Dharma practitioner, you can learn about how to practice Tonglen, taking on the suffering on yourself, cherishing thoughts. So such a strong technique. And if suffering is unavoidable, of course, first you think like, how can we avoid? So this is how the Dalai Lama and also Lama Zopa Rinpoche give instructions. See how you can avoid problems. So, and if it's unavoidable, bring it into the path. You don't have to suffer unnecessarily. It can just be practical, solve what can be solved, but many things cannot be solved. And then it's so much suffering. And if we can bring it into the path, we make it so useful. Even cancer, other slandering, like can be a part of your path and can be so beneficial instead of being just angry, upset. So we can have then much more peaceful life. Dharma offers so much methods to have peace temporarily and also ultimately this big love, peace, compassion, and realizing wisdom, realizing emptiness, leaving samsara, then become an arhat, then become a Buddha, use our full potential. So all these practices, whatever we have done, being generous today, we have been making offerings, we have praised Buddha, we have taken refuge, we rejoice in all the good things, we have regret about all the bad things, we requested our teachers to teach. We all dedicate this for our enlightenment, because even then we can do more for sentient beings than we can do now. And on top of that, of course, we dedicate for all the goodness of all sentient beings, for those who do good, all the causes we do this practice for, the teachers to have long life, for wars to end, for all the victims of war to find what they need, for all people who have hatred in their minds to change their mind and become servants of others instead of egoistic, following their delusions. And then for our father, mother of this life, because due to them we can do this practice. Without our father, mother, and grandparents, we would not sit here, we should not do this practice. And for everyone who contributes in whatever way to peace and happiness in this world, may they increase their kindness to others, develop bodhicitta, and get realizations of emptiness. So I think it's time. So I don't know if there's any follow-up. Could be that I'm the last one today. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Not too bad.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry
okay.
because you had to go very early because I think there was a problem with YouTube, isn't it? And then you have to be called. You have to be called in.
Yeah. I did hear the beep, the phone go off, and I've been drowsy. I didn't get up straight away, but I eventually checked it. But yeah, it's okay. It has to be done. It has to be done.
Thank you for all the efforts.
Apparently, that's about the only way we can do it. I think Google don't like computers from different parts of the world logging into the setup that we have. They regard as being hacked. It's something that Google doesn't like, as far as I'm aware. We have to use computers we've set up at Chenrezig Institute. Even if we take them home, they look like a Chenrezig Institute computer with the profiles and settings and stuff like that.
Yeah. But this happened every week, or that?
No, it's unusual. We don't know why it went down. Don't know.
Okay.
Perhaps if whose hosting's computer gets breaks, gets a bad internet connection, that could do it. Possibly. That's possible.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, thank you so much.
And now we don't have leaders to follow. We can. Do you want me to put videos on until?
Yes, you can do videos on if you like, and it would be very nice. But if you feel to go home, then maybe we stop. There has been an exchange between Malgo and Damche today. Make a proposal that if it's so much at the end, to already maybe stop earlier. But I appreciate if there's still some sessions done.
Okay. But I can do it.
Yes.
It's
okay.
Ready.
Thank you.
It's ready to go.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Yeah. And I'm sure Aldo will benefit.
Thank you.
Aldo is there.
Venerables.
Hello.
You know what's important for me? Your powerful prayers, your suggestion for me, it's very, very important.
Good.
Prayers are a method for me for come out from the inside, and so be more human, more near others, and so on. Have an empathy, and these start from prayers for me. Thank you. Thank you for all.
Very happily done. Yeah, thank you so much. And I wish the two of you have a nice Sunday. And of course, sooner or later, I hope to see you again, maybe next week or something. Yeah. Good.
Thank you for all.
Okay. All the best. Ciao, ciao, everyone on the world. It was with me. Thank you so much for being with us. Ciao, ciao. Okay.
Symptoms, but my 3 tests said no, so it was, I think, only a flu. But still, many people get infected now at the moment, also here in Nalanda Monastery in France, and and everywhere in the world. And let's hope that this pandemic that we overcome it now, and that there will be no new form of the virus coming in autumn or winter. So let's pray for that and dedicate this practice for this goal. So, as usual, in order to prepare our mind for this practice, we need also to prepare our body, which is the support for our mind. So, first take a good body posture. Check if your spine is upright. Check through your body if there are any tensions, because tensions would blockage for the energies, for the breath to go freely through the body. So we try to relax all our tensions. We release the tension in our face and shoulders. The lower back. In our arms and hands. Then observe the sensations where your body is in contact with the ground or your cushion or chair. And for some moments, just observe your breath as it is. We are not trying to manipulate the breath, just that the process of breathing happening. Then visualize on your right side is your father, on your left side your mother. Those people to whom you are attached are sitting behind you, and those to you have difficulties with are sitting in front of you. And then we expand the number of sentient beings gathering around us. We visualize all sentient beings, that they have human forms. Also the sentient beings from the hell realms, the hungry ghost realms, and animal realm. Also of the God realms, that they are gathering in human form around us. And then try to observe, to become aware of their suffering. The suffering of pain, of torture, the suffering of their afflictions, like fear, hate, malevolence, the suffering, especially of sickness. There are so many sicknesses in the world, not only of the body, but also the mind. But we are focusing here more on the suffering connected with the coronavirus. Still, many people have difficulties to breathe. They are afraid of becoming infected or losing their job and their income. Many people are going to die from this virus. May they have a precious human rebirth. And all those who are sick become very quickly gain their health back. Then we visualize our teacher in the space in front of us, in the form of Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, sitting on a very precious, wonderful looking golden throne, supported by 8 great lions, snow lions. And Guru Shakyamuni is sitting on a lotus, symbolizing renunciation, on a sun seat, symbolizing wisdom, and a moon seat, symbolizing bodhicitta. Buddha Shakyamuni is in the nature of pure golden light. This light emanates in all directions, and is reaching to all the sentient beings gathering around us, including ourselves. In order really to help all these sentient beings gathering around us with all their suffering, we need to finally become a Buddha ourselves, develop all our qualities and overcome all obstacles, all afflictions and all mistakes. And then we are able to help. So with this in mind, we take refuge. All sentient beings, my mothers who are infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Yidams and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers who are infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Yidams and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers who are infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Yidams and Dakinis. we go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. And then we recite the mantra of compassion. And you may visualize that the syllables of the mantra, which are standing upright on a moon cushion at your heart, that they are turning clockwise while you're reciting. And they emanate a very bright 5-colored light, which reaches to all the sentient beings and gives them lightness, happiness, health, and releases them from all their suffering and gives them comfort. Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum. Mani padme hum. Then we recite the actual prayer. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings, that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases. The mere sounds of those names terrify beings as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings they are due to disturbances of the 4 elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the 3 jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings, that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases. the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings they are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the dakinis, dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings, that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings they are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings they are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the dakinis, dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. Then, the swift fulfillment of all wishes, independence of the great Jetsun Tsongkhapa. Namo Guru, supreme embodiment of the wisdom and compassion of all the victorious ones of the three times, manifesting as a monk wearing the three saffron robes, the spontaneous exalted wisdom Dharmakaya possessing the five bodies. To you, Jetsun Losang Dakpa, I make request. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. With a nature of primordially pure clear light, uninterrupted natural expression of the complete Sambhogakaya, great being who unifies body and mind, to you, Jetsun Losang Dakpa, I make request. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. Displaying an array of manifold Nirmanakaya emanations appropriate to the limitless living beings, equaling the expanse of space, to you, Jetsun Losang Dakpa, I make request. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. Through the power of having made single-pointed requests to you, may all the unfortunate natural manifestations of the degenerate age, illness, famine, crawling, epidemic disease, graha spirits, interferers, and so forth be pacified. Then, when I request that the excellent collection of conducive conditions increase, please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. Having completely cleared away the darkness of ignorance and confusion and fully developed illumination of supreme intelligence, virtuous friend who causes the 100-petal lotus of the scriptural tradition to bloom, the sun radiating benefit and happiness, to you I make request. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. Since I and others, the assembly of faithful disciples, have no other Lord of refuge to turn to for hope, then we make request in all the 6 sessions of day and night. Please bless us that the Guru's blessings may enter our mind. Also at the end of this life, may I see you, glorious Losang Dakpa, along with your retinue, and immediately have a vision of you saying reassuringly, son, daughter, go to the celestial realm of Tushita. Care for me with your compassion, precious Guru. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. Namo Guru, supreme embodiment of the wisdom and compassion of all the victorious ones of the three times, manifesting as a monk wearing the three saffron robes, the spontaneous exalted wisdom Dharmakaya possessing the five bodies. To you, Jetsun Losang Dakpa, I make request. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. with a nature of primordially pure clear light, uninterrupted natural expression of the complete Sambhogakaya, great being who unifies body and mind, to you, Jetsun Losang Darpa, I make request. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. Displaying an array of manifold Nirmanakaya emanations appropriate to the limitless living beings equaling the expanse of space. To you, Jetsun Losang Darpa, I make request. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. Through the power of having made single-pointed requests to you, may all the unfortunate natural manifestations of the degenerate age, illness, famine, crawling, epidemic, disease, graha spirits, interferers, and so forth be pacified. Then, when I request that the excellence collection of conducive conditions increase, please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. Having completely cleared away the darkness of ignorance and confusion and fully developed illumination of supreme intelligence, virtuous friend who causes the 100-petal lotus of the scriptural tradition to bloom, the sun radiating benefit and happiness, to you I make request. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. Since I and others, the assembly of faithful disciples, have no other Lord of refuge to turn to for hope, when we make request in all the 6 sessions of day and night, please bless us that the Guru's blessings may enter our minds. Also at the end of this life, may I see you, glorious Losang Darpa, along with your retinue, and immediately have a vision of you saying reassuringly, son, daughter, go to the celestial realm of Tushita, care for me with your compassion, precious Guru. Please bless me that my wishes be swiftly fulfilled. And then the mantra, the Vajra Ama mantra, which is this one here. Vajapet Om Padmashavari Pet Nimpajig Naganan Tayada Savavirida Hanana Vajena Raksha Soha. Vajapet Om Padmashavari Pet Nimpajig Naganan Tayada Savavirida Hanana Vajena Raksha Soha. Vajapet Om Padmashavari Pet Nimpajig Naganan Dayada Zavavirita Hana Hana Vajena Raksha Soha. Then the mantra of Black Manjushri. Om Tas Jus Dutas Dumis Ningulache Kalajakam Shamtam Pepe Soha. Om Tas Jus Dutas Dumis Ningulache Kalajakam Shamtam Pepe Soha. Om Tas Jus Dutas Dumis Ningulache Kalajakam Shamtam Pepe Soha. Om Tas Jus Dutas Dumis Ningulache Kalajakam Shamtam Pepe Soha. And finally, the mantra of Green Tara. Om Tare Tutare Dure Soha. 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 Tare Tutare. Om Tare Tutare Dure Soha. Then I would like to dedicate all these positive potentials, energies we have created through this practice today and in the past, that they become a cause for the well-being and health of all our teachers, especially His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And I would like also to dedicate because some of us have the occasion or the opportunity to travel to India and receive full ordination, so that that we encounter no obstacles for this ordination, for this travel, and that everything turns out good in the end. So then may the precious supreme bodhicitta not yet born arise. May that has arisen not decline, but increase more and more. Due to this virtue, may I quickly become a Guru Buddha and lead all transmigrated beings without exception to that state. Due to all the merits of the 3 times collected by me, the numberless Buddhas and the numberless sentient beings, may all wars, sickness, famine, torture, poverty, and the economic problems in the world, and all dangers of earth, water, fire, and wind be pacified immediately, and may perfect peace and happiness prevail in everyone's hearts and lives. May the Buddha Dharma last for a long time, and may the sentient beings in this world meet the Buddha Dharma and achieve enlightenment as quickly as possible. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, and all the merits of the 3 times collected by the numberless Buddhas and numberless sentient beings, which are completely empty of existing from their own side, may I, who am completely empty of existing from my own side, achieve the state of full enlightenment, which is completely empty of existing from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are completely empty of existing from their own side to that state which is completely empty of existing from its own side, by myself alone, who is completely empty of existing from my own side. So, hello, Venerable Tsendru. It's your turn.
Yes, hello.
Have a good practice.
Yeah, we will do. Okay, thank you for leading, and
thank you.
Yeah, see you soon.
See you later.
And also thank you for Chenrezig Institute for organizing this. It's been nearly 2 years, so it's been a lot of work for all of them. So thank you for that. And this session will also go as the previous one for half an hour. And I think there's nobody leading it after me, so there might be a recording. And yeah, I would like to spend maybe like half of the time with a bit of a motivation, and the rest with the actual prayer. And yeah, for that, we can remember again that we do this practice especially for the pacification of coronavirus in France, Europe, and all over the world. And things seem to go rather smoothly right now, as the vaccine is spreading and the coronavirus variant is not so strong anymore. Still, our prayers are needed to pacify the virus completely. And let's try to develop a bit of a motivation that we do this actually for this purpose. We can do so by remembering that we ourselves, we wish to be happy and we don't want to suffer. Everything we do, think and speak is motivated by this wish. And this is the same for all other human beings, for all other sentient beings. And especially those who are maybe tested positive or have symptoms from coronavirus or other consequences coming from that. People having fear, having to be in quarantine. All this kind of stuff we can, I think, relate to when we see how we ourselves feel when we are in such a situation. Maybe we can extrapolate that to all of us and see they are just the same as ours. And they wish to be happy, they don't wish to suffer. Still we encounter all sorts of sufferings. And especially all of us knows how it feels when we are sick ourselves. if a person that we love, that is near to us, is sick, or maybe even eventually has died. And all of those people who might have a negative, might be influenced negatively by the virus, all of that feel similarly to us. Maybe we can try to spend a few moments on opening up our hearts towards all those beings. And with a mind that is hopefully not so singly focused on our own benefit and our own suffering, we can broaden our perspective by thinking that all sentient beings, in human form or non-human form, have been our mothers and fathers, children and relatives in our past lives. And in future lives, they also will serve the same purpose. And when we remember the kindness of either our parents or whoever has taken care of us, so that we are able to grow up, by remembering this kindness, we can also think about the kindness that we have received in previous lives and that we will receive in future lives. Then let's think that, or maybe hopefully, we wish to repay the kindness of all those beings arises to some degree naturally in our mind when we think about the kindness of others. The best way to repay the kindness of all those beings who have been so kind to us, and will be kind to us in future lives. What is the best way to repay the kindness of all those beings? Sure, we could provide food and so forth in this life for one day, for a week, which would be great and very beneficial to do. Nevertheless, the best way to repay the kindness of others is to fulfill their wish for happiness and their wish for being free from suffering. And there's only one way we can achieve that. For that, we need to become enlightened ourselves so we can guide all others to full enlightenment. Only when we are fully enlightened, we will have the ability to know exactly what those sentient beings need in order to be guided along the path. And only then we will have the actual means to engage in enlightened activities. When we try to help others right now, if we are under the influence of afflictions, often it's more harm than benefit. And in order to be able to benefit all of us, We need to get rid of our afflictions. We need to get rid of the obstructions to omniscience, the appearance of true existence, and develop a mind that sees all conventional and ultimate phenomena directly. A mind that has impartial compassion towards all sentient beings, and thereby helps every sentient being, no matter if they help us or if they harm us. And only when we have achieved Buddhahood, we will know from our own experience the best way to lead all other sentient beings to full enlightenment ourselves. Maybe we can try to spend also a few moments to generate the wish to achieve that as good as we can. And then we can imagine the wonderful qualities of a Buddha. His mind that sees all phenomena directly in the convention of the ultimate nature, his impartial compassion, his wonderful speech with which he teaches the Dharma, his enlightened activities. And these qualities appear in the space in front of us in the form of a merit field. Maybe Buddha Shakyamuni if you want. And he looks at us with complete acceptance. His compassionate gaze looks at us with complete acceptance. From his heart, light rays emanate towards us and all the sentient beings that are surrounding us. And we can imagine that all those beings who have been under the influence of the coronavirus, all those beings who have other sicknesses, all other human beings, and all other sentient beings are surrounding us in human form as far as we can imagine. And with this visualization, we can do the prayers and take refuge. Let's see if I can bring it up on my screen. Yeah, should work. Okay. All sentient beings, my mothers, so infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assemblies of Gurus, Siddhams, and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dhammakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers, so infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Siddhams, and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dhammakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers, so infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Siddhams, and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dhammakaya. And then we can do one mala of the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra, thinking that in the space in front of us is Chenrezig, and also at his heart stands the mantra, Light rays emanate from that into us and all of us sentient beings surrounding us, and eliminating all fears, eliminating all sicknesses, all other sorts of suffering, endowing us with all virtuous qualities. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of grass spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases. The mere sounds of those names terrify beings, as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that hum suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are, due to disturbances of the four elements depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power, and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. So we can do the actual prayers a few times. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of grass spirits, illness, and Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases. The mere sounds of those names terrify beings, as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that hum suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements depriving the body and mind of every happiness be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power, and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of grass spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases. The mere sounds of those names terrify beings, as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interference, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power, and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. And then we can do one mala of Tara mantra, Tara to Tara to Zoha, which we can imagine again that Tara is in the space in front of us. At her heart stands the mantra, light rays emanate from that into us, all of us sentient beings surrounding us, eliminating all fears, eliminating all sicknesses, eliminating all other sorts of sufferings. And we can especially remember that Tara is famous for being very quick in responding to this and eliminating all fears very quickly. And then these light rays emanate into us. They purify all our obscurations and they endow us with all causes for happiness. And then these light rays completely fill up our body, speech, and mind. These light rays also go out to all of us beings surrounding us, completely purifying them. And with this visualization, we can do one mala of a mantra Om Mani Padme from Tara to Tara to Zoha. Om Tara to Tara to Zoha. Om Tara to Tara to Zoha. Then for the dedication, we can think that we generated a little bit of merit here right now, and that we dedicate this positive potential from these merits to our own and others' complete and full enlightenment. but especially for the pacification of the coronavirus. But also the measures that are needed to be imposed on all the world to pacify the coronavirus, that these are lifted hopefully soon. But all the fear and anxiety and all other things that gives mental difficulties to sentient beings due to these maybe quickly be eliminated. The same thing for all other sicknesses. For all other kinds of suffering, especially things arisen out of anger and attachment. Especially also for the pacification of a war in the Ukraine and on other places in the world. There are conflicts in Yemen, in Syria, and on so many other places in the world. So let's try to spend a few moments on dedicating this practice, especially for these purposes. With that, we can do then some dedication prayers, and I would like to do dedications from Shantideva. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtues of my merit. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed out by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored and finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those speak with sorrow find joy. May the fallen find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from the ailments. Whatever diseases were unrolled, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power and make people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as any beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Then we can dedicate this practice also for the long and healthy life of all our teachers, especially His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Lama Thangtong Gyalpo Rinpoche. Kangai Rawe Kowe Jinkam Dia Pendang Dewa Malu Jungwen Chenrezig Tenzing Gyatso Jape Simte Barto Tengye Tupsul Chang Jin Jam Gun Gyalwe Tenzin Kyong Palwe Kunzu Duak Poadzen Chuksum Kowe Legman Tudrup Pahadak Sukduj Guntur Japten. Okay, as the text before me, I would also like to dedicate this practice, the positive potential of this practice, for a good and good journey, and without any obstacles for the attainment of fulfilling a long ordination with His Holiness in India. So there are quite some people going there, and hopefully everything works well, and no obstacle arises, and everybody is able to receive the vows. Okay, I'm a bit early, 2 minutes early, but as it seems there's nobody joining me after me, so I think I'll just have to leave here. I don't know if there's somebody at Chenrezig Institute taking care of that. But I think we will just play a video at some point. So thank you for joining, and everybody have a nice day.
Thank you. Yes, we'll play a video now.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
So we imagine light going out from that blue hole, beams of light out to the 10 directions, hooking the energy of the enlightened body, speech, and mind, all the Chenrezig to the universe. And all that energy of the actual Buddhas comes back and absorbs into our visualization, kind of like making it real. Zahung Bamho, they become non-dual. Now our visualizations is the Buddha manifestation of all the Chenrezig to the universe. How amazing. Think like that. So the relationship we have with the Buddha is in this way is you know, that a person Bhakas and Dakinis, and we rely upon the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers, who are infinite like space, we rely upon the precious Guru Buddha. We rely upon the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. We rely upon the assembly of gurus, yidams, dakas, and dakinis, and we rely upon the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers, who are infinite like space, we rely upon the precious Guru Buddha. We rely upon the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. We rely upon the assembly of gurus, yidams, dakas, and dakinis, and we rely upon the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers, who are infinite like space, we rely upon the precious Guru Buddha. We rely upon the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. We rely upon the assembly of gurus, yidams, dakas, and dakinis. We rely upon the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers, who are infinite like space, we rely upon the precious Guru Buddha. We rely upon the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. We rely upon the assembly of gurus, yidams, dakas, and dakinis, and we rely upon the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. That's a very particular way the Sakyapas talk. I don't think our Gyalpo Lamas talk like that. All these traditions, they have a different way of saying it. This is very sweet. We rely upon the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. The Dharmakaya is a name given to the actual enlightened mind. And so now we visualize Lama Chenrezig sending from his brow, from the white Om at his brow, powerful laser beams of white light that penetrate the brows of us, ourselves, and then every single being in front, behind, above, below, as far as we can imagine. And first we think of all those who are suffering from the pandemic in particular, which is the reason we do these prayers, but also anyone who can think of these days, the latest version of terrible suffering happening on this planet. It never ends, but just now, recently, for whatever reason, this one suddenly gets our attention, in Ukraine. But every day it's something, everywhere it's something, never forget. So we think of all these suffering people, and we think it purifies, first of all, this white light purifies the results of our past negative karma of harming sentient beings, and generally of harming sentient beings with our bodies, is why we suffer with our bodies now. It's kind of got some logic to it. Sickness, for example, the pandemic, this get COVID. But if you have the sickness, that is the environmental result of past killing. If you die, say die young or get killed, and we look at Ukraine, that's the experience similar to the cause of past killing. There are 4 different karmic results: the environment, what happens to you, your tendency to do it, and the actual realm you're born into. So we think of all the suffering that people have right now, the terrible suffering of all the sickness, the terrible suffering of being physically harmed, thinking this light totally purifies, totally eradicates the pain from every single person. But not only that, the crucial one is also to imagine this white light is purifying all the karmic seeds we've all planted in countless past lives that are sitting there in our mind streams that haven't yet ripened as this suffering. And we know we do not want this suffering, and those sentient beings do not want this suffering. So imagine this white light also purifying all those karmic seeds. How amazing. From our hearts wanting this, visualizing this, the powerful light coming from Lama Chenrezig as we sing the mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And as we said, silently, remember, even if we're saying it just slightly loudly, all the beats around us can hear it. And don't forget, because of the way we're constructed, the sound of mantra is the purest of sounds, and that's the wind energy within us, and that affects our minds. And in this way, we purify our minds and our own bodies. So there's multiple benefits. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Humani Pene Hum. You continue to see this light coming from Lama Chenrezig. So powerful, these beams of light entering all of us, purifying our sickness and suffering and purifying all the causes from the past causes as we recite the verses from our hearts. Want these is what these verses are. May this, may that. That's the meaning of intention. I want, I will. May this, may that. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the bhutas not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher needing an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they've been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, and the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified, and may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the Dakas, Dakinis, Dhamma protectors, and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the bhutas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they've been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified, and may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the Dakas, Dakinis, Dhamma protectors, and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the bhutas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they've been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified, and may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the Dakas, Dakinis, Dhamma protectors, and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the bhutas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they've been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified, and may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the Dakas, Dakinis, Dhamma protectors, and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. Nana, are you in Ukraine? Where are you? Not, where are you? In Portugal still? Okay, that's okay. We're thinking of all of you. You're Ukrainian, right? You're from Ukraine, aren't you? Good job. Okay, especially thinking of all the suffering right there as well. Or all the poor Russians as well who are dying of creating heavy negative karma. Everybody, think of everybody. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the bhujas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they've been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified, and may the body and mind have radiance and power, and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the dakas, the kinis, our protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. I think we want to try and remember too, we can't see, because there are harmful beings all around we can't see from the different realms. The spirits, for example, very harmful spirits, very suffering beings who harm. And we've got to realize there are countless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, countless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and Dakas and the Kings, all these highly evolved spiritual beings that can also manifest, of course, in human bodies. It's not as if they're not. It's not as if, by definition, that being spiritual means you don't have a body. Buddhas manifest in human bodies, which we can't see, that's all. We don't recognize. So we've got to understand, I think, one of the powers of this kind of practice, if we are all collectively around the world strongly wanting peace and wanting happiness and wanting things to be free of suffering, this energizes, as it says, by the power of the Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians. It energizes them, all the beings all over the world. That's how things can change, When we see a level of reality very limited. This is certainly the Buddhist approach. There are trillions of incredibly powerful beings existing in the universe, all doing their jobs, helping sentient beings. So we kind of feel like we're part of that. So we see now visualizing the light from Lama Chenrezig's brow again, coming strongly, entering into every brow of every being in the universe. All of these ones we're seeing as humans, but in all different realms of existence, purifying their present suffering and purifying the causes of the future, the suffering that hasn't yet ripened. Must purify that. White light filling every single being, purifying. So happy. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Continuing this light, not stopping, not stopping. As Lama Chenrezig blesses all of us as we say the verses again from our hearts. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of the grass spirits, illnesses, and the daughters, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they've been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the Gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the darkest Dakinis, Dharma protectors, and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of grass spirits, illnesses, and the bhutas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as they've been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified, and may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the Gurus and the three jewels, by the power of the darkest Dakinis, Dharma protectors, and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions. What that means is everything is a result of actions. The creation principle, you want to call it that, it's just a word, is the actions of, is the thoughts of beings. That starts, that's intention. I will. And then the intention drives the body and speech to do actions. And then they leave imprints in the mind that ripen in the future as our bodies, as our tendencies, as our experiences at the hands of others, and as literally the way the physical environment impacts upon us. So literally every sentient being is the creator of our own individual sufferings and collectively of the whole universe. It is literally what we're saying. So karma, action, intention. Intention is the real meaning of karma. Intention. I will. That's the start. And it's so programmed that we don't see it 90% of the time, 100%. That's the driving force of the entire game. That's what sets all the suffering realms, all the happiness, all the good. Sentient beings create our lives. This is so fascinating. So karma is the main cause, and in contemporary conditions, the conditions are sort of like the seed. The main cause of the flower is the seed, but you need the water and the earth. And the nourishment, and that's their temporary conditions. So right now, someone dying, being killed, like in Ukraine, let's say, that's the fruit of their past killing. But the temporary condition is the meeting of the other person, or the bomb falling in that particular place. So karma is always the main cause. Then these are the other conditions. They all come together, and then the results happen. It's the way reality is, books. All the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings, and all the happiness as well. Don't forget, not just the suffering. All the happiness things, all the good things that happen, is exactly the same. That result in karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of grass spirits, illnesses, and the bhutas. I mean, we haven't heard of all these beings, of course, in our culture, but this is what these holy beings see, all these different beings, not occur in the realms of the world. And whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered and separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. That's what's happening today, right now. It's second. People walk across the road and they drop dead. Something happens. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, and the sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they've been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed.
Hello, Venerable. Would you like to start
Hello.
now?
Yeah, I'm ready. Maybe
Okay,
1 or 2
thank
minutes
you.
early, but okay.
Yeah, thank you.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි. මගේ නම ලෙග්ඩ්‍රන්. මං කැමති මේ කරන පැය භාගය තුල අපි සිංහලෙන් Thangtong Gyalpo Prayers කරන්න. මේකට සහභාගී වන ලංකාවේ ඉන්නත් ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ඉන්න හැමදෙනාම හුඟක් ආදරයෙන් මම පිළිගන්නවා. මොකද මේක හරිම වටිනා අවස්ථාවක් අපිට අපේ භාෂාවෙන්ම පොඩි වෙලාවකට හරි මේ ලෝකේ වටේ ඉන්න හැම FPMT organisation එකෙන් ඉන්න මෙහෙණින් වහන්සේලා සහ හාමුදුරුවරු එකතු වෙලා කරන මේ වැඩසටහනට සහභාගී වීමට ලැබීමත් ලොකු දෙයක්. ඒ නිසා අපි මම බලන්නම් මට ෂෙයා කරගන්න පුළුවන්ද මේ ප්‍රයර් එක කියලා. පුළුවන් වගේ. අපි එක මොහොතක හිත එකලස් කරගන්න යොදවලා අපි ඇයි මේ ගාථාද කියන්නේ කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් හිතමු. මේ ලෝකයේ තියෙන ලොකුම අවිනිශ්චිත කරදරකාරී දුෂ්කර කාල සීමාවක් වකවානුවක් අපිට ලැබලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ හැමදේම මේ මිනිසුන්ට තියෙන ජීවිසත්වයන්ට තියෙන දුක් වලින් ඉක්මනින්ම තොර වෙන්න ලැබෙන්න මේ තියෙන බාධා හැමදේම ඉක්මනින්ම තොර වෙලා මිනිසුන්ට ධර්මය අවබෝධ කරගන්න අවස්ථාවක් ලැබෙන්න කියන ප්‍රාර්ථනාවෙන් අපි මේ ගාථා කියමු. අවකාශයෙන් අනන්ත වූ සියලු සත්වයන් මාගේ මව්වරුන් උතුම් ගුරු බුදුන් සරණ යන්නාහුය. අප බුදුන් දහම් සංගුණ සරණ යමු. අප ගුරු මණ්ඩලය යේදාම් හා දක්ඛිනී සරණ යන්නෙමු. අප අපගේම මනසී ශුන්‍යත්වයේද පිවිතුරු බවද වන ධර්මකාය සරණ යන්නෙමු. අවකාශයෙන් අනන්ත වූ සියලු සත්වයන් මාගේ මව්වරුන් උතුම් ගුරු බුදුන් සරණ යන්නාහුය. අප බුදුන් දහම් සංගුණ සරණ යන්නෙමු. අප ගුරු මණ්ඩලය යේදාම් හා දක්ඛිනී සරණ යන්නෙමු. අප අපගේම මනසී ශුන්‍යත්වයේද පිවිතුරු බවද වන ධර්මකාය සරණ යන්නෙමු. අවකාශයෙන් අනන්ත වූ සියලු සත්වයන් මාගේ මව්වරුන් උතුම් ගුරු බුදුන් සරණ යන්නාහුය. අප බුදුන් දහම් සංගුණ සරණ යන්නෙමු. අප ගුරු මණ්ඩලය යේදාම් හා දක්ඛිනී සරණ යන්නෙමු. අප අපගේම මනසී ශුන්‍යත්වයේද පිවිතුරු බවද වන ධර්මකාය සරණ යන්නෙමු. දැන් අපි මොහොතකට හිතාගමු අපි වටේම සියලු ජීවි සත්වයන් මේ ලෝක 6ක ඉන්න හැම ජීවි සත්වයක්ම අප වටා ඉන්නවා. අපේ දකුණු පැත්තේ අපේ මේ ආත්මේ මවත් වම් පැත්තේ අපේ මේ ආත්මේ මවත් දකුණු පැත්තේ අපේ පියත් ඉන්නවා. ඒගොල්ලන් හිටියත් ජීවිතුන් අතර හිටියත් නැතත් එහෙම ඉන්නවා කියලා හිතාගෙන අනිත් සියලුම නෑදෑයෝ අපි දන්න නොදන්න සෑම දෙනාම අපි වටා ඉන්නවා මනුස්ස වේශයෙන්. මොකද මනුස්ස ආත්මයක් තමයි මේ අකුසල් දුරු කරගන්න පුළුවන් ලේසිම ආත්මය. ඒ නිසා ඒ හැමෝම අපි වටේ ඉන්නවා කියන චේතනාව තුලින් අපි ඕම් මානි පද්මේ හෝම් කියන මන්ත්‍රය සජ්ජායනය කරමු. Om mani padme hum, 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 om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, 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 om mani Om mani padme hum, 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 padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, 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 om mani om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani Om mani padme hum, 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 om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, 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 padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, 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 om mani padme hum. දැන් අපි හිතාගමු මේ මන්ත්‍ර සජ්ජායනාවත් එක්ක ආර්ය අවලෝකිතේශ්වර උත්තමානන් වහන්සේ අපේ හිස මුදනේ රැඳී ඉඳලා අපේ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකට අපේ ආයාචනාවට ගොඩක් ප්‍රීතිමත් වෙලා එතුමාගේ හදවතින් රශ්මි ධාරාවක් අපේ ඊස මුදුනට වැටිලා අපේ ගස පුරාම විසිරීලා ගිහිල්ලා අපේ තියෙන ඔක්කොම කෙලෙස් අකුසල් හැමදේම තුරන් වෙලා යනවා තුරන් වෙලා ගියා ඒ වගේම අප වටා ඉන්න සියලුම සංසාරික ජීවි සත්තුන්ටත් ඒ වගේම පිරිසිදු භාවයක් ඇති වුණා කියලා හිතමු. අපේ මනසත් අපේ ගතත් පලිඟුවක් වගේ බවට පත් වුණා. ඒ ගැන හිතලා අපිට පොඩ්ඩක් ප්‍රීතිමත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි මේ තත්ත්වයට දැන් පත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. එහෙම හිතාගත්තත් අපි මේ ප්‍රයා එකත් කරනවා. මොකද අපි දන්නවා සංසාරේ මේ තියෙන භාවය තාම තුරන් වෙලා නැහැ. දුෂ්කරතා තාමත් තියෙනවා. ඒ හින්දා අපි මේ වගේ පිරිසිදු බවකටපත් වුණා. නමුත් අනිත් අය වෙනුවෙන් අපි ඒ ආයාචනාව තුළින් මේ ගාථාව කියමු. සත්වයන්ගේ මනසට දුක් දෙන සියලු වසංගතයන්ද ග්‍රහ දෝෂ, ලෙඩ දෝග, භූත බලපෑම් වැනි ප්‍රතිඵල ඇති කරන කර්මයන් සහ වෙනත් తాවකාලික තත්වයන්ද ලෝක ධාතු තුල නැති නොවේවා. මස්මරන්නෙකු සත්වයෙකු මරණයට දක්වා යන්නක් මෙන් ක්ෂණිකයෙන් මනස ශරීරයෙන් වෙන් කළ හැකි ජීවිත තර්ජන සහිත රෝගාබාධයන්ගෙන් සිදුවිය හැකි කිසිම ආකාරයක දුකක් ලෝක ධාතුන්හි ඇති නොවේවා. 80000ක් වූ නොඑක් මට්ටමේ කරදරකාරී මැදිහත් වීම, ක්ෂණික විපත් ගෙන දෙන 360 ප්‍රමාණයක් වූ අමනුෂ්‍ය බලපෑම්, 424ක් වූ රෝගාබාධ යනාදිය නිසා ශරීර සහිත කිසිදු සත්වයකට අගතියක් නොවේවා. සතර සංඝාතකයන් කැළඹීමෙන් ශරීරයේද මනසේද සතුටට හානි වීමෙන් වන දුක් දුරු වේවා. ශරීරයේද මනසද ශක්තිමත් හා ප්‍රභාමත් වේවා. නිරෝගී යහපත් දීර්ඝායුෂ සහිත වේවා. ගුරුවරුන්ගේ හා ත්‍රිවිධ රත්නයන්ගේ මෛත්‍රියෙන්ද දක්ඛිනින් ධර්මාරක්ෂකයන් හා රැකවලුන්ගේ ශක්තියද නොවරදින සත්‍යයන් වූ කර්මයන් හා ඒ වාගේ ප්‍රතිඵලයන්හි බලයද හේතුවෙන් මෙම යාතිකාවන් හා පිදුමන් සඵල වේවා. අපි මේ ගාථාව 7 වාරයක් කියමු. සත්වයන්ගේ මනසට දුක් දෙන සියලු වසංගතයන්ද ග්‍රහ දෝෂ, ලෙඩ දෝග, භූත බලපෑම් වැනි ප්‍රතිඵල ඇති කරන කර්මයන් හා වෙනත් తాවකාලික තත්වයන්ද ලෝක ධාතු තුල ඇති නොවේවා. මස්මරන්නෙකු සත්වයෙකු මරණයට දක්වා යන්නක් මෙන් ක්ෂණිකයෙන් මනස ශරීරයෙන් වෙන් කළ හැකි ජීවිත තර්ජන සහිත රෝගාබාධයන්ගෙන් සිදුවිය හැකි කිසිම ආකාරයක දුකක් ලෝක ධාතුන්හි ඇති නොවේවා. 80000ක් වූ නොඑක් මට්ටමේ කරදරකාරී මැදිහත් වීම, ක්ෂණික විපත් ගෙන දෙන 360 ප්‍රමාණයක් වූ අමනුෂ්‍ය බලපෑම්, 424ක් වූ රෝගාබාධ යනාදිය නිසා ශරීර සහිත කිසිදු සත්වයකට අගතියක් නොවේවා. සතර සංඝාතකයන් කැළඹීමෙන් ශරීරයේද මනසේද සතුටට හානි වීමෙන් වන දුක් දුරු වේවා. ශරීරයේද මනසද ශක්තිමත් හා ප්‍රභාමත් වේවා. නිරෝගීව යහපත්ව දීර්ඝායුෂ සහිත වේවා. ගුරුවරුන්ගේ හා ත්‍රිවිධ රත්නයේ මෛත්‍රියෙන්ද දක්ඛිනින් ධර්මාරක්ෂකයන් හා රැකවලුන්ගේ ශක්තියෙන්ද නොවරදින සත්‍යයක් වූ කර්මයන් හා ඒ වාගේ ප්‍රතිඵලයන්හි බලයද හේතුවෙන් මෙම යාතිකාවන් හා පිදුමන් සඵල වේවා. සත්වයන්ගේ මනසට දුක් දෙන සියලු වසංගතයන්ද ග්‍රහ දෝෂ, ලෙඩ දෝග, භූත බලපෑම් වැනි ප්‍රතිඵල ඇති කරන කර්මයන් හා වෙනත් తాවකාලික තත්වයන්ද ලෝක ධාතු තුල ඇති නොවේවා. මස්මරන්නෙකු සත්වයෙකු මරණයට දක්වා යන්නක් මෙන් ක්ෂණිකයෙන් මනස ශරීරයෙන් වෙන් කළ හැකි ජීවිත තර්ජන සහිත රෝගාබාධයන්ගෙන් සිදුවිය හැකි කිසිම ආකාරයක දුකක් ලෝක ධාතුන්හි ඇති නොවේවා. 80000ක් වූ නොඑක් මට්ටමේ කරදරකාරී මැදිහත් වීම, ක්ෂණික විපත් ගෙන දෙන 360 ප්‍රමාණයක් වූ අමනුෂ්‍ය බලපෑම්, 424ක් වූ රෝගාබාධී යනාදිය නිසා ශරීර සහිත කිසිදු සත්වයකට අගතියක් නොවේවා. සතර සංඝාතකයන් කැළඹීමෙන් ශරීරයේද මනසේද සතුටට හානි වෙමින් වන දුක් දුරු වේවා. ශරීරයේද මනසේද ශක්තිමත් හා ප්‍රභාමත් වේවා. නිරෝගීව යහපත්ව දීර්ඝායුෂ සහිත වේවා. ගුරුවරුන්ගේ හා ත්‍රිවිධ රත්නයේ මෛත්‍රියද දක්ඛිනින් ධර්මාරක්ෂකයන් හා රැකවලුන්ගේ ශක්තියද නොවරදින සත්‍යයන් වූ කර්මයන් හා ඒ වාගේ ප්‍රතිඵලෙහි බලයද හේතුවෙන් මෙම යාතිකාවන් හා පිදුමන් සඵල වේවා. සත්වයන්ගේ මනසට දුක් දෙන සියලු වසංගතයන්ද ග්‍රහ දෝෂ, ලෙඩ රෝග, භූත බලපෑම් වැනි ප්‍රතිඵල ඇති කරන කර්මයන් හා වෙනත් తాවකාලික තත්වයන්ද ලෝක ධාතු තුළ ඇති නොවේවා. මස්මරන්නෙකු සත්වයෙකු මරණයට දක්වා යන්නක් මෙන් ක්ෂණිකයෙන් මනස ශරීරයෙන් වෙන් කළ හැකි ජීවිත තර්ජන සහිත රෝගාබාධයන්ගෙන් සිදුවිය හැකි කිසිම ආකාරයක දුකක් ලෝක ධාතුන්හි ඇති නොවේවා. 80000ක් වූ නොඑක් මට්ටමේ කරදරකාරී මැදිහත් වීම, ක්ෂණික විපත් ගෙන දෙන 360 ප්‍රමාණයක් වූ අමනුෂ්‍ය බලපෑම්, 424ක් වූ රෝගාබාධ යනාදිය නිසා ශරීර සහිත කිසිදු සත්වයකට අගතියක් නොවේවා. සතර සංඝාතකයන් කැළඹීමෙන් ශරීරයේද මනසේද සතුටට හානි වීමෙන් වන දුක් දුරු වේවා. ශරීරයේද මනසේද ශක්තිමත් හා ප්‍රභාමත් වේවා. නිරෝගීව යහපත්ව දීර්ඝායුෂ සහිත වේවා. ගුරුවරුන්ගේ හා ත්‍රිවිධ රත්නයේ මෛත්‍රියෙන්ද දකිනින් ධර්මාරක්ෂකයන් හා රැකවලුන්ගේ ශක්තියද නොවරදින සත්‍යයන් වූ කර්මයන් හා ඒ වාගේ ප්‍රතිඵලයෙහි බලයද හේතුවෙන් මෙම යාතිකාවන්හි පිදුමන් සඵල වේවා. සත්වයන්ගේ මනසට දුක් දෙන සියලු අසංගතයන්ද ග්‍රහ දෝෂ ලෙඩ රෝග භූත බලපෑම් වැනි ප්‍රතිඵල ඇති කරන කර්මයන් හා වෙනත් తాවකාලික තත්වයන්ද ලෝක ධාතු තුල ඇති නොවේවා. මස් මරන්නෙකු සත්වයෙකු මරණයට දක්වා යන්නක් මෙන් ශනිකයෙන් මනස ශරීරයෙන් වෙන් කළ හැකි ජීවිත සර්ජන සහිත රෝගාබාධයන්ගෙන් සිදුවිය හැකි කිසිම ආකාරයක දුකක් ලෝක ධාතුන්හි ඇති නොවේවා. 80000ක් වූ නොඑක් මට්ටමේ කරදරකාරී මැදිහත් වීම ශනික විපත් ගෙන දෙන 360 ප්‍රමාණයක් වූ අමනුෂ්‍ය බලපෑම් 424ක් වූ රෝගාබාධ යනාදිය නිසා ශරීර සහිත කිසිදු සත්වයකට අගතියක් නොවේවා. සතර සංගරකයන් කැළඹීමෙන් ශරීරයේද මනසේද සතුටට හානි වීමෙන් වන දුක් දුරු වේවා. ශරීරයේද මනසේද ශක්තිමත් හා ප්‍රභාමත් වේවා. නිරෝගීව යහපත්ව දීර්ඝායුෂ සහිත වේවා. ගුරුවරුන්ගේ හති උදරයන්ගේ මෛත්‍රියෙන්ද දකිනින් ධර්මාරක්ෂකයන් හා රැකවලුන්ගේ ශක්තියෙන්ද නොවරදින සත්‍යයන් වූ කර්මයන් හා ඒ වාගේ ප්‍රතිඵලයන්හි බලයද හේතුවෙන් මෙම යාතිකාවන් හා පිදුමන් සඵල වේවා. සත්වයන්ගේ මනසට දුක් දෙන සියලු වසංගතයන්ද ග්‍රහ දෝෂ ලෙඩ රෝග භූත බලපෑම් වැනි ප්‍රතිඵල ඇති කරන කර්මයන් හා වෙනත් తాවකාලික තත්වයන්ද ලෝක ධාතු තුල ඇති නොවේවා. මස් වරන්නෙකු සත්වයෙකු මරණයට දක්වා යන්නක් මෙන් ශනිකයෙන් මනස ශරීරයෙන් වෙන් කළ හැකි ජීවිත තර්ජන සහිත රෝගාබාධයන්ගෙන් සිදුවිය හැකි කිසිම ආකාරයක දුකක් ලෝක ධාතුන්හි ඇති නොවේවා. 80000ක් වූ නොඑක් මට්ටමේ කරදරකාරී මැදිහත් වීම ශනික විපත් ගෙන දෙන 360 ප්‍රමාණයක් වූ අමනුෂ්‍ය බලපෑම් 424ක් වූ රෝගාබාධ යනාදියන් නිසා ශරීර සහිත කිසිදු සත්වයකට අගතියක් නොවේවා. සතර සංගරකයන් කැළඹීමෙන් ශරීරයේද මනසේද සතුට හානි වීමෙන් වන දුක් දුරු වේවා. ශරීරයේද මනසද ශක්තිමත් හා ප්‍රභාමත් වේවා. නිරෝගීව යහපත්ව දීර්ඝායුෂ සහිත වේවා. ගුරුවරුන්ගේ හා ත්‍රිවිධ රත්නයේ මෛත්‍රියෙන්ද දකිනින් ධර්මාරක්ෂකයන් හා රැකවලුන්ගේ ශක්තියෙන්ද නොවරදින සත්‍යයන් වූ කර්මයන් හා ඒ වාගේ ප්‍රතිඵලයන්හි බලයද හේතුවෙන් මෙම යාතිකාවන් හා පිදුමන් සඵල වේවා. අපි ලංකාවේ තියෙන මේ දුෂ්කර වකවානුව ගැන ලාමසෝපතුමාගෙන් ඇහුවාම ලාමසෝප කිව්වා බයිසජ්ජි ගුරු මන්ත්‍රයේ ඉතාමත් වටිනවා, බයිසජ්ජි ගුරු පූජාවන් ඉතාමත් වටිනවා කියලා. ඒ නිසා අපි බයිසජ්ජි ගුරු මන්ත්‍රේ කීප වාරයක් සජ්ජායනා කරමු. තද්යතා ඕම් බයිසජ්ජේ සජ්ජේ මහා බයිසජ්ජ රාජ සමගතේ සෝහා තද්යතා ඕම් බයිසජ්ජේ මහා බයිසජ්ජ රාජ සමගතේ සෝහා. So this is the medicine Buddha mantra. ඔයගලන්ට ටිබෙටන් භාෂාවෙන් කියන්නත් පුළුවන්, සංස්කෘත වලින් කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. තද්යතා ඕම් බයිසජ්ජේ මහා බයිසජ්ජ රාජ සමගතේ සෝහා 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 තයතා 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 ඕම් බයිසජ්ජේ මහා බයිසජ්ජ රාජ සමගතේ සෝහා. අපි වජ්‍ර ගුරු මන්ත්‍රේ කීප සැරයක් සජ්ජායනා කරමු. Omahong Wajraguru Pemaside 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 Wajraguru Pemaside Omahong Wajraguru Pemaside Omahong Wajraguru Pemaside Omahong Wajraguru Pemaside Wajraguru Pemaside Omahong 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 Wajraguru Pemaside Api මේ කැපකිරීම විශේෂයෙන්ම ලංකාවේ අපිට සමීප සෑම දෙනාටම මේ ඇති වෙලා තියෙන අතිකර දුෂ්කරතාවන්ගෙන් වහාම මිදෙන්න අවස්ථාවක් ලැබෙන්න කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමු. අපි ශාන්ති දේවතුමාගේ කැපකිරීම කරමු. මම බලන්නම්. ශරීරයේද මනසේද දුකයන් වසංගත වූ සෑම තන්හිම වෙසනා සියලු සත්වයන් මාගේ කුසල් මහිමෙන් සාගරයක් තරම් වූ සතුටක් ප්‍රීතියක් ලබත්වා. කිසිදු ජීවියෙකු දුකටපත් නොවේවා, නපුරක් නොකරවා, කිසි විටක රෝගී බවට පත් නොවේවා, මනස ආතතියෙන් බරවන තැතිගැන්මක් හෝ යටපත් වීමක් සිදු නොවේවා. අන්ධයන් රූප දකිත්වා, බිහිරන්ට ශබ්ද ඇසේවා. ඉසිලු බරින් ගත විඩාපත් වූවන් විවේකය ලබා සුවපත් වෙත්වා. නිර්වස්ත්‍ර වූ වස්ත්‍ර ලබත්වා, කුසගිනි ඇත්තන් ආහාර ලබත්වා. පිපාසව සිටින්නන් ජලයද මිහිරි පානයන්ද ලබත්වා. දුප්පතුන් වස්තු ලබත්වා, දුකින් පීඩිත වූවන් සතුටුව සැනසේවා. බලාපොරොත්තු සුන් වූවන් බලාපොරොත්තු සහිත වේවා, සතුටින් සෞභාග්‍යයෙන් පිරේවා. කලට වැසි වසිත්වා. මම බලන්නම් මේක උඩට දාන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා. ඔයගලන්ට පේනවද දන්නේ නැහැ. කලට වැසි වසත්වා, අස්වනුසාර වෙත්වා. සෑම බෙහෙතක්ම පූර්ණ ඵල දෙත්වා. පරිපූර්ණ යාතිකාවන් එහි ඵල ලබත්වා. රෝගීව ආසාදිතව සිටිනා සියල්ලෝ සැනින් තම රෝගයෙන් මිදෙත්වා. කුමන ආකාරයක හෝ පැතිරෙන රෝග ලෝකේ වේනම් ඒවා නැවත ඇති නොවේවා. බියපත් වූවන්ගේ බිය තුරන් වෙත්වා. යදමින් බැඳුවුන් නිදහස් වෙත්වා. බලය නැත්තෝ බලවත් වෙත්වා. මිනිසුන් එකිනෙකාට උදව් කරන සිතැත්තෝ වෙත්වා. අවකාශය පවතිනා තාක්, සත්වයන් පවතිනා තාක් ලෝකයෙන් දුක පළවා හැරීම උදෙසා මාද පවතිවා. අපි ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමු මේ ලෝකේ ඉන්න හැම දෙනාටම යම්කිසි චේතනාවක් ආසාවක් තියෙනවා නම් මේ වාගේ ප්‍රාර්ථනාවක් තුළ බුද්ධත්වයේ කරා යන්න ඒ අයට අවශ්‍ය හැම ගුරුවරයෙක්ම හැම ඉගැන්වීමක්ම අතිශයින් ඉක්මනින්ම ලැබේවා. සියලුම බාධාවන් දුරු වෙත්වා. හැම දිනාටම සංසාරයෙන් ඈතර වීමට අවශ්‍ය හැමදේම මේ මොහොතේම ලැබේවා කියලා අපි ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමු. අපිට ගොඩක් බාධා තිබුණා ලංකාවේ මේ වගේ බුද්ධත්වය ගැන ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන්න මේ වගේ ගාථා සිංහලෙන් කියන්න ලැබීම කියන එකත් අපේ ජීවිත කාලය තුල මම ඇත්තටම දකින්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ඒ හින්දා අපිට ගොඩක් සතුටු වෙන්න පුළුවන් කාරණාවක්. අපි දලයි ලාමතුමාගේ දීර්ඝායුෂ ලැබීම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන ගාථාව අපි ටිබෙටන් භාෂාවෙන් කරනවා අදට. නමුත් සිංහලට පරිවර්තනයක ඊළඟ සුමානේ සපයන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා හිතනවා. Gangri rave kove sinkam de pandang deva malu juvene Chenrezig tensin gatsoi sabbe site baju tengu shi Lama Sopatumage දීර්ඝායුෂ ප්‍රතිනම් ගාථාව Tob shul chang jing jang gong galway ten sing gong balway gon su do po se shuk sum ku ve leg mon tu jo pa dao zog du je gon du sap ten sho Lama also, Lord of Dharma, who in accordance with the various dispositions of those to be subdued, makes clear in the light of your well-spoken advice the sacred Ganden tradition essence of Buddha's teachings. O foremost and holy Lama, to you who are supreme, we make this prayer of supplication. O Lama, please, please, live long. Api anik kapakiriba sinhalin karanna puluwa. ආයෙත් අපේ හිතට මනසට හිතාගමු අපි මේ ගාථාවන් අද මේ සුළු කාල සීමාවට හරි එකතු වෙලා කරන්නේ මොන හේතුව නිසාද මේ ලෝකයේ තියෙන ඊටමත් දුෂ්කර අවිනිශ්චිත තත්ත්වය ලෙඩ රෝග යුද්ධ දුර්භික්ෂ පාලකීන්ගේ දරුණු පාලකයන් පහළ වෙලා ඉන්න කාලයක් ඒ හැමදේම ඉතා ඉක්මනින්ම වෙනසක් වෙලා මිනිසුන්ට සතුටින් සාමයෙන් ජීවත් වෙන්න ලැබෙන්න විශේෂයෙන්ම ලංකාව යුක්‍රේන් ඇෆ්ගනිස්තාන් වගේ රටවල් වල ගැන විශේෂම හිතලා ඒ රටවල් වල අතිවිශාල ජනතාවක් ඉතාමත් දුක්ඛිත තත්ත්වයකට පත් වෙලා ඉන්නවා. ඒ හැමතෙම මේ දුකින් මිදෙන්න ලැබෙන්න කියන ප්‍රාර්ථනාවෙන් සියලු සත්වයන් දුකෙන් මිදෙන්න කියන ප්‍රාර්ථනාවෙන් අපි මේ කැපකිරීම කරමු. මෙම පුණ්‍ය ක්‍රියා නිසා රැස්වන කුසලයන්ගේ බලයෙන් ඉක්මනින්ම ගුරු බුද්ධයන්ගේ තත්වයට පත්ව සියලු ජීවී සත්වයන්ද එම තත්වයට පත් කිරීමට මට හැකි වේවා. පැන නොනැගිනු බෝධිචිත්ත රත්නය පැන නැගී වර්ධනය වේවා. පැන නොනැගිනු බෝධිචිත්ත මිලින නොවි වඩ වඩාත් වර්ධනය වේවා. නිර්භීත වූ සමන්ත භද්‍රයන් හා මංජු ශ්‍රීද දේවල් වල ඇති සැටිය ප්‍රත්‍යක්ෂ කරගත් බැවින් මමද පූර්ණ වශයෙන් ඔවුන් අනුව යාමට හැකිවන පරිදි මෙම සියලු කුසලයන් හොඳම ආකාරයෙන් කැප කරන්නෙමි. තත්කාලයේ ජිනවර තථාගතයන් වහන්සේලා විසින් ඊතා හොඳයයි වර්ණනා කරන ලද්දා වූ කැපකිරීමෙන් මා මෙම සියලු කුසල මූලයන් කැප කරන්නේ යහපත් ක්‍රියාවල යෙදිය හැකිවන පරිද්දෙනි. තුන් කල්හිදීම මා විසින්ද සියලුම බුද්ධ බෝධිසත්වයන් වහන්සේලා විසින්ද කරගන්නා ලද ඒ අයගේ පැත්තෙන් ශූන්‍ය වූ කුසලයන්ගේ බලයෙන් ඒ පාර්ශවයෙන් ශූන්‍ය වූ මටද ඒ පාර්ශවයෙන් ශූන්‍ය වූ බුද්ධත්වය සාක්ෂාත් කිරීමට ලැබේවා. ඔවුන්ගේ පාර්ශවයෙන් ශූන්‍ය වූ සියලුම ජීවි සත්වයන් හැකි ඉක්මනින්ම එම බුද්ධත්වයේ කරාගෙන ඒමට මටම හැකි වේවා. තුන් කල්හිදීම මා විසින්ද සියලුම බුද්ධ බෝධිසත්වයන් වහන්සේලා විසින්ද සියලු ජීවි සත්වයන් විසින්ද රැස් කර ගන්නා ලද කුසලයන්ගේ බලයෙන් යුද්ධ, සාගත, වසංගත, කෝලාහල, සටන් හෝ නොසතුටු මනස් ඇති නොවේවා. මහත් සෞභාග්‍යයක් ඇති වේවා. අවශ්‍ය සියලු දේ පහසුවෙන් ලබාගත හැකි වේවා. මුළු ලෝකයේම මිනිසයෝ ධර්මය පමණක් උගන්වන ආධ්‍යාත්මික නායකයන් විසින් මඟ පෙන්වනු ලබත්වා. සෑම දෙනාම දහමේ සතුට වින්දනය කරත්වා. අපි අපේ ප්‍රාර්ථනාව ඒ විදිහටම ඉෂ්ට වේවා කියලා
Good morning, everybody. Hello. Have you been on all night?
No. No, we've started again this morning though. No, it wasn't through all night. No. So we didn't think we had anyone for right now.
No. Well, you didn't, but I saw that the last spot of this weekend was still empty, so I thought I'd do it. Does that disrupt you guys if I do that?
No, we thought it might actually stop early, and we would have kept the videos going. But since you're here, that's fantastic.
Okay. Yes, when I saw, it's nice to have. Ben Wudamcho said it's nice to have a Sangha member start and finish. So when I saw the finishing spot was empty, I thought I'd come in.
Mm-hmm. And Nana and I have been communicating and trying to solve the world's problems. The prayerathon issues. Trying to sort things out there. So yeah.
Okay.
That's the first time we've spoken to each other. That's.
Really? That's very nice. I'll let you continue to solve the problem.
We'll let you continue now, and
yeah. Okay. Lovely.
We'll catch you later.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, wherever you are in the world. It's morning here in Australia. 9 a.m. on a beautiful sunny Sunday morning in Brisbane. Supposed to be raining today, but I just looked out the window. Doesn't look like it's going to rain, at least not for a while. I did a session last night also. I take great joy in doing this practice. It is, in my very busy life, it is a way I can sit and spend half an hour at a time making sure that I am totally focused on doing practice for the benefit of others. And while that is, the altruistic motivation, hello, Alison. Well, the altruistic motivation is always there. This practice really brings it into my core, into my heart. It makes it really strong. And so I take great joy, and I thank Rinpoche for giving the Sangha a chance to do this every weekend. So I just want to start this morning, being the last session. So some people, it's the first session for me today, but some people may have been watching for several hours already. Some people might have come in and out over the weekend, or some people might be watching this days down the track. But let's just take a few minutes to relax, to center ourselves so that we can make our focus very, very strong while we're doing this practice. So as always, when we meditate, you sit with a straight back, as straight as you possibly can. We all have different bodies, so whatever works for you. But having a straight back makes our meditation stronger because it gives the internal energies room to breathe, room to move, and the winds that keep us strong and healthy actually move around our body and not only make the meditation strong, but make us strong as well. And we can focus on our breath, just gently in and out. From, if you can, not just really shallowly from your nose, but try to bring the breath in and out from your diaphragm or from your upper chest. Again, if you can breathe like this, it makes your body healthy and strong. And as you continue to breathe in and out, try to let go of all of those thoughts and feelings that continually arise and swirl around. All of the difficulties we and family members might be having, all of the issues we face in daily life, even all of the hopes and anticipations we have for the day or the week or the year, just let them go for a while. And try to focus just on the in and out movement of the breath. Nothing impeding that clear flow of breath, that clear flow of mind, the openness, the clarity in your mind that appears when it's not full of stuff. And now we can think that our heart becomes huge. Our heart is who we are. And we, as our heart expands, that's all we are. And you can feel that your heart expands to hold every single suffering being, every being we're doing this practice for today, the people who are sick and ill, the people who are in war zones, particularly in the Ukraine, the people who are suffering, that we know in our own lives, in our own families. All of the friends and families, all of the strangers that we might meet, come across in our daily lives, will never meet. And all of our enemies, all of those people we don't like, whether we personally know them or whether they might be just people on the television like politicians. Hold them in your heart. Your heart is so huge. You can hold every single suffering being, and not just human beings, the insects and the animals. Such suffering in every realm. The beings in the hell realms, the beings in all of the realms that we don't see. And our heart is big enough to hold all of them. And so continuing to hold them in your heart, we will do our prayers. And starting with the beautiful motivation that we've been given as part of the practice, the Vajra speech of Mahasiddha Thangtong Gyalpo, the blessed prayer known as liberating Sakya from disease. And this motivation, so beautiful, given directly by Arya Avalokiteshvara to Kyabje Lama and by him to Mahasiddha Thangtong Gyalpo. How very precious it is that we can say this prayer. And so we can do this motivation just 3 times. All sentient beings, my mothers who are infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Yidams and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers who are infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Yidams and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings, my mothers who are infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Yidams and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. We can recite the Mani mantra of Arya Avalokiteshvara's special mantra of compassion. So we can do that 1 mala aloud and then for 2 malas under our breath. All the while thinking that this mantra resonates through our body, throughout the surroundings around us, and to all the sentient beings that we're holding in our hearts. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Oh, Manhamio, Manhamio, Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, Manhamio, Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, 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 Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, 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 Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, 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 Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, 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 Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, 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 Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio. Manhamio, Manhamio, Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, 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 Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, 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 Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio. Oh, Manhamio, Manhamio. Oh, 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 Mani Padme Hum, oh, Mani Padme Hum. Now we can do the actual Thangtong Gyalpo prayer. Again, thinking of all of the beings who are suffering from COVID-19 in whatever way it manifests for them. There's such a lot of suffering around the disease, but not only COVID-19, every single disease and sickness, the cancers, and think that this prayer resonates throughout the world to heal all beings. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha, spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings arise due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power, and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the Gurus and the Three Jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings, that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings, as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power, and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the Gurus and the Three Jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. May all the diseases that sadden the mind of sentient beings, that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of graha spirits, illnesses, and the Buddhas, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose names terrify beings, as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power, and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the Gurus and the Three Jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. Now we can go to the words of truth, pacifying the dangers of weapons. And, you know, we can think that we do this prayer for all people in every war zone. There are many throughout the world, but of course Ukraine is front of mind. We do the prayer not only for the victims, but for the perpetrators. We do the prayer for all of those affected by gun violence. And again, at the front of our minds are the recent tragedies in the United States. Great, loving, victorious one, Maitreya Buddha, transcendental, sublime, compassionate eye-looking one, wrathful, victorious Hayagriva, fully accomplished, totally pure Jatantara, and so forth. Merely hearing your holy names eliminates all dangers, objects of refuge in the nature of compassion. Please pay attention. When the sentient beings of the time of quarrelling and 5 degenerations, by the explosion of the great ocean of evil, karma, and jealousy, are tormented by the intensive suffering of fighting and quarrelling, please dry this up by the power of transcendental wisdom and compassion, by letting great rainfalls of the nectar of loving kindness fall on the migratory beings who are inflaming the conflagration of hatred fire. Please grant blessing with the recognition of each other like father, mother, then increase happiness and auspiciousness. May the multitudes of the vicious evil spirits who enter the mental continuum and change it instantly to the mind of Azura from now on never run in this area, country, or world. I am requesting for even all the sentient beings who have died in the war to abandon from that time onwards all the evil karma, cause and effect, then having entered and been born in the blissful field, Amitabha's pure land, to lead all others to that pure land. Please bless all those who are born and die, to have long life, no sickness, to pacify all quarrelling and fighting. Enjoy the 10 virtues, have rainfall at the right times, always have good harvests, and for all the habitat and inhabitants to be auspicious and increase. By the ultimate reality, which is pure by nature, by phenomena having ultimate reality, cause and result are unbetrayable, and by the compassion of the Guru, mind seal deity, and rare sublime ones, may these pure, extensive prayers be completed. Now the dedication prayers. I do like to do now, as we do at Langri Kampa Centre, the dedication prayer from chapter 10 of the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Master Shantideva. Again, keeping all beings in your heart, bringing to mind all the sufferings. May all beings everywhere plagued by sufferings of body and mind obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer or commit evil or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the hopeless find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all the medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and the people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. May the precious supreme bodhicitta not yet born arise. May that arisen not decline but increase more and more. Due to this virtue, may I quickly become a Guru Buddha and lead all transmigratory beings without exception to that state. Long life prayers for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. To the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, protector of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. And now we will just recite the refuge and bodhicitta prayer 3 times, as we've been advised to do, to remove obstacles for the long life of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. And we can do final dedications, remembering emptiness. And doing this, remembering emptiness at the end of all of your prayers and practices, puts a really tight seal on them, makes them really, really strong. So, and it's very, very good to remind ourselves that everything is merely everything is clarity and awareness. Everything is empty from its own side. Due to all the merits of 3 times collected by me, the numberless Buddhas and the numberless sentient beings, may all war, sickness, famine, torture, poverty, and economic problems in the world, and all dangers of earth, water, fire, and wind be pacified immediately. And may perfect peace and happiness prevail in everyone's hearts and lives. May the Buddha Dharma last for a long time. And may the sentient beings in this world meet the Buddha Dharma and achieve enlightenment as quickly as possible. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, and all the merits of the 3 times collected by the numberless Buddhas and numberless sentient beings, which are completely empty of existing from their own side, may I, who am completely empty of existing from my own side, achieve a state of full enlightenment, which is completely empty of existing from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are completely empty of existing from their own side to that state which is completely empty of existing from its own side by myself alone, who is completely empty of existing from my own side. And now, because it's the last session of the day, to multiply the benefits of our prayers, we can do the multiplying mantras. Chamdende, Deshan Chapadra, Champayang, Dapa Zope, Sange Mangila, Bajira, O Ki Gyalpo La, Chasano. Chamdende, Deshan Chapadra, Champayang, Dapa Zope, Sange Yowadang Mon Lam, Tamcha Rapto Drupa, Gyalpo La Chasano. Due to the power of the blessings of the eminent Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the power of infallible dependent arising, and the power of my pure special attitude, may all my pure prayers succeed immediately. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chenrezig Institute. Thank you, Alison, for coming in. Thank you, Aldo. Lovely to see you again this morning.
Thank you, Venerable. Glad to see you also this week, and I hope for the next 99 week of marathon of prayers.
Yes,
and then 100. It's a success of things of prayers, and 2 years in all things, and so glad to see you. Thank you. Thank you for your prayer.
Thank you everybody. Have a great weekend.
Okay, thank you, Chenrezig.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye everyone.
So